Last week, we talked about the perils of overwhelm and shared some hacks to shift your mindset and get back into action. If you missed it, don't worry, the link is below. Today, we're diving into my personal process that I use when I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I call that the Overwhelm To-Do List. This easy peasy lemon squeezy method will help you cut through the noise, it'll stop the spinning, and it'll get you back into high functioning productivity mode in no time. So grab a pen and paper and hit that subscribe button for more mind mastery tips. I'm J Love, and I'm all about helping people like you live a life that makes you want to leap out of bed in the morning. So, with no further ado, let's leap into my to-do list strategy. So, the reason that this process works is because your deep mind, the unconscious mind, is always scanning for danger. Now, one of the scariest things for your mind is when it doesn't know what's coming or how you're going to handle it. So, this process gives your mind a clear picture of both of those things, which means it can then settle back down and just let you do your thing. Step one, the brain dump. Our minds can only handle 5 to 9 things in active memory at once, which means everything else is basically in the dark. This keeps your mind worrying, it keeps it stressing, it keeps it spinning. So by doing the brain dump, we bring everything into the light, reassuring our minds that we have the tools to handle it. So here you want to write down everything that's on your mind. Just do a free-form dump. It can be worries, it can be nagging thoughts, it can be to-dos, it can be commitments, you name it. In my case, some tasks include housework, helping my daughter redesign her room, which I promised ages ago, handling a bunch of social media tasks, finalizing an article for an online magazine where the deadline's overdue. Oh my gosh. And resolving a technical login problem on my website that has been nagging at me. If you're with me so far and this all makes sense, leave me a yes in the comments below. And if not, let me know what you would like to see because I definitely want this to help you. And if you haven't already, check out my 3 strategies for shifting your state of overwhelm so you can calm down and do this exercise in a calmer state of mind. Step 2, the chunk up. So if your list is a mile long, you've got to chunk it up into categories. And this helps make things feel less chaotic. It brings order to your list. It reassures your mind that there's a structure in place. So here you just go through your list and assign categories to each item. So these categories need to reflect how you think about tasks. So for me, I think pretty high level. So it aligns with areas like my home, my relationship, work, kids, health, you name it. And you might prefer categories like, things I want to do, things I dread, or maybe Stephen Covey's system of urgent and important, not urgent and important, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever works best for you. Step 3, mark high energy items. So you want to go through this list and you want to notice which items carry the most energy for you. When I say energy, I mean things that evoke stress or excitement or any form of resistance. And this is because it's these items that are most likely the ones causing your overwhelm in the first place. Remember that overwhelm is an emotional state. So you want to notice what's triggering that emotion for you, especially feelings of resistance. So for example, it could be something you've been putting off for a long time. It could be a decision that you don't want to make, or even something you're so excited about that you can't stop thinking about it. Step 4, make a reduced list. So pull all of those items out and you make them into a shorter list. You can still use the bigger to-do list for other planning, but for your overwhelm, you just want a list that reflects those high energy items. Step 5, chunk down. Remember, your deep mind wants to know that you can handle what's coming, and it thinks in pictures. So whatever it can't picture is adding stress. So you want to go through your tasks, and you want to make sure you can picture how you're going to do every single one of them. So breaking tasks into smaller steps helps your mind visualize what needs to be done. For example, my dreaded login problem. So tech support identified this login issue as a bug, and I have a bunch of people that are trying to log in this week. And it's too late to change systems, but there is this one wonky workaround that I do know about. So what can I do here? Well, I'll create the tutorial of the wonky workaround, and I will then email it to participants, and then I will follow up with them individually to make sure that they were all able to get in. That level of specificity takes something that feels overwhelming and it turns it into a tactical, practical, actionable list. If you're blocked, chunk down again. So, what if you don't know how to do something or you're stuck in indecision? Here, you want to chunk it down even further until you have some sort of plan of action that your mind can picture. So, let's take an example of this article that I have to write. I really only have 2 paragraphs left, but I'm totally blocked. And so I have to stop and I ask myself, what's the problem here? Why am I blocked? Where is the resistance? Well, if I'm going to be honest, I don't really like the story that I was going to tell. It's kind of boring and tedious, and I don't want to write it. So how am I going to come up with a better story? The next step is not to write the story, it's to decide what to write about. So I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. Let's see. I'll brainstorm possible stories, choose one, and commit. Even if it's not perfect, it's enough. And I will decide on this story by 3 p.m. today and then schedule time for writing. Now let's take an example of a difficult decision. So for me, for example, there's the question of whether to stay in the very expensive Bay Area. And the challenge isn't really the decision itself, but it's figuring out how to make it when there are so many variables at play. So what I'll do is I will make a decision-making process. So for example, what are the criteria? What's important about the place that I live? What do my family members care about and value? What are the pros and cons? So none of this is actually making the decision. It's all leading up to it. So what's my next step? It's actually not even the first step in the process. For something this big and substantial, it's really just scheduling the steps. Even though I haven't taken the steps, my mind knows I have an actionable plan to follow. You getting the pattern? The next step is simple. You just prioritize your list by importance, urgency, and energy. Put anything with an urgent deadline at the top, and then look for things that are going to give you an energy boost. So that's often closing the final details of a project that's been dragging out, or the things that you are most dreading. Once those are closed, and once you've started the thing that you're dreading, you're going to feel an immediate sense of body level satisfaction, or relief, or both. Okay, final step, schedule everything. Schedule when you're going to complete each task and pick at least one thing that you can do today. This helps your mind see the path forward. It makes the overwhelming feel manageable, like you got this. And as soon as you start taking action, your mind is going to settle right down. And if you don't have time to schedule it all right now, schedule time to schedule. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. So let me know in the comments. And if not, let me know in the comments. And if you want more tips and tactics to unlock your potential and love your life, follow me here and join my mailing list to get it right in your inbox. Are there lots of things on your to-do list that are routinely draining you? It does not have to be this way, I promise. Check out my Busy to Balance masterclass in the link below and offload those energy drains. You'll get hours of your week back while getting to the real reasons life can feel so freaking stressful sometimes.